When I refused my mother's request for my inheritance, an amazing family secret was revealed. The sun dipped below the horizon as Sarah parked her car in front of the Victorian house that had been home for decades. Its once vibrant hues now dulled. The peeling paint mirrored her heart weighted by recent loss and the enormity of expectation from her mother. She stepped inside, feeling the familiar comfort of her surroundings suffocated by an impending dread. That evening, the air crackled thick with tension. Her mother sat at the dining table, her eyes glistening like the family heirlooms that adorned the shelves around them. "Sarah, we can't keep this house. I need you to give up your inheritance." The words slammed into Sarah's chest, paralyzing her. The silence stretched painfully until she whispered back, "I can't sacrifice my future just to save a place." Every inch of her body was on high alert, an internal storm brewing. Responsibility tangled within her, a thread of duty pulling one way, her dreams and aspirations tugging the other. Her mother's anguish pierced through their shared grief. Would letting go of what her father built release her? Or was it a betrayal of the love that had once filled their home? Sarah's heart raced as she walked away, battling guilt with each breath. Yet, as she climbed the creaky staircase toward the attic, the sting of rejection faded under the allure of curiosity. In the dim light, she found a dusty canvas hidden beneath a stack of forgotten boxes. It was the remnants of her mother's artistic past, once vibrant, now subdued under layers of neglect. As she brushed away the grime, waves of emotion crashed over her. This was a revelation of family legacy stuffed into the shadows, stifled under practicality. An urge surged within her, frantic and raw. She needed to unleash the artist she had forced into silence. But uncovering this secret wasn't without its weight. As she immersed herself in creativity, wondering if this was merely escapism or her true calling, her mother entered the room, eyes wide with recognition. Their shared silence spoke volumes. The air thickened with what had been left unsaid for years. That his denial of her mother's artistry could weave into her own struggle left Sarah breathless. The threads of their lives intertwined like the colors on her palette. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That evening spiraled into a fever of graphical expression. Yet lurking beneath strokes that transformed her canvas into a repository of hope and grief, was the undercurrent of resentment. Each brush pulled at the seams of familial obligation, leaving her craving for independence while yearning to mend her fractured relationship with her mother. They clashed in an echo of generational dreams, Sarah's quest for individuality battling with her inherited responsibilities. Then, in a moment of heated confrontation, emotions erupted. "Do you even know why I never painted again?" Her mother unleashed bitter memories cloaked in sadness. Sarah froze, a mix of guilt and confusion torturing her. What was the legacy? Was it color or debt? Would her art rebuild their fractured bond? Or was it merely an escape from suffocating duties? Questions weighed down her heart, intensifying as she stepped closer to her first public showing. The artist's lines blurred between what held them together and what threatened to tear them apart, leaving Sarah achingly aware that she stood at the precipice of something far greater than mere paint. It was a future hanging in the balance. Sarah stared at the canvas, its empty surface a reflection of her internal chaos. Canvases were brave, bold. They challenged her to pour forth her truth. Yet, as she squeezed the paint tubes and watched the vibrant colors swirl, she felt like a ghost haunting her own existence. She was torn between a desire for creative freedom and the obligation to salvage her family's history. "Mom," she ventured cautiously, breaking the thick silence that had settled like dust in the attic, "what if we could find a way to keep the house and honor your art? What if it could be both?" Her mother's eyes shimmered, momentarily softening at the mention of creativity. But just as quickly the wall went back up. "This house isn't just property, Sarah. It's a burden. And your inheritance, it's a chain that'll keep you from living the life you want." The air thickened as the walls of the attic seemed to close in. Sarah tensed, grappling with her mother's profound sadness. It emerged from all those years of careful suppression, like a dam ready to burst. She wasn't just advocating for her dreams, but confronting the ghosts of her mother's past, the cost of unfulfilled aspirations laid bare. Maybe your art could breathe new life into this old place, Sarah proposed, her heart racing with the audacity of her words. What if we turn it into a studio? A gallery for your work? We could host events, connect with other artists. Her mother shook her head fiercely, but doubt creased the corners of her mouth. You don't understand. Every brushstroke carries my shame. Every paint splatter echoes the missed opportunities. This house is just another reminder of what I lost. Seized by frustration, Sarah stepped closer, her voice rising slightly. But it doesn't have to stay that way. We can recreate what this house means to us together. You're not just the woman who gave up her dreams. You're the artist I want to celebrate. Don't you see this as a chance for us both? A silence fell heavy between them, thick with the weight of unsaid dreams and regrets. For the first time, Sarah peered beyond the facade of her mother's sorrow, feeling the pulse of unimagined possibilities swirling in the air like paint in water. Her mother's face twisted into a mix of anguish and introspection. What if I fail again? The question hung in the air, taking root in Sarah's heart. It wasn't just about fears of failure. It was about the fear of confronting the past. In that moment of reflection, Sarah made a crucial decision. She would not only paint canvases, she would paint a new reality for both of them, one built on risk and vulnerability, rather than the suffocating constraints of obligation. To execute this vision, Sarah felt exhilarating urgency course through her. There was power in sharing a dream, and if they could step into this together, they could forge a path of healing. Let us start small, she suggested, her mind racing with ideas. We can invite a few friends over, create an art night, maybe explore the stories behind your old works. It could be a cathartic release. Doubt flickered in her mother's eyes, but curiosity seemed to spark beneath the surface. You really think that could work? I believe it's the beginning of something, Sarah replied, a newfound determination igniting within her. It won't just be about us. It will be about creating something beautiful from our shared pain. The thought of opening the attic for collaboration, of transforming pain into connection, exhilarated her. She felt a visceral response. This was her moment, a chance to redefine what family, love, and legacy truly meant. As days turned into fevered evenings of preparation, Sarah invested herself wholly, believing each stroke of paint was more than a brush against a canvas. It was a gesture of defiance against fear. But doubts lingered like shadows, and preparations for the art gathering began to gnaw at her resolve. What if her mother wasn't ready? What if this entire endeavor blew up in their faces, leaving them more divided than before? The night before the event, she stood at the attic door, the tension bubbling within her as a nagging fear overshadowed her bravado. Was she about to unleash something bigger than herself? Unbeknownst to her, an uninvited visitor was underfoot, one who held secrets that could shatter the delicate balance she was hoping to create. With that on her mind, Sarah found herself questioning whether the dream she was trying to forge could withstand the truth crashing into her life. The next day held the promise of hope, but also the threat of revelation. Would she be ready to embrace whatever truth awaited her? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow through the attic's windows, Sarah could feel the weight of impending change. The air buzzed with an electric anticipation, yet a knot of anxiety twisted in her stomach. She meticulously arranged the apartment-style gallery, her mother's art displayed alongside her own burgeoning pieces. Each brushstroke in her creations felt like a declaration, a testament to the diverging paths of their lives. The attic brimmed with stories, and Sarah was determined to revive them. She envisioned the laughter, the discussions, and even the tears that might flow when they invited friends to experience their world. Yet, shadows loomed in the back of her mind. Would her mother embrace this opportunity, or would her fears prove insurmountable? Faced with the remnants of the past, would they only reinforce old wounds? She turned with purpose to inspect the artwork, noticing a lingering hesitation woven through her preparations. Each piece of her mother's so raw yet so buried echoed the dreams that had been silenced over decades of regret. A sudden realization washed over her. Her worth as an artist was no longer just about personal growth, but about healing the rift within their family. Wasn't that a canvas worth painting? That night, she sprawled out on the attic floor, surrounded by tubes of paint and empty canvases, hoping inspiration would strike. Her thoughts spiraled, contemplating how the event could redefine their bond. If only I could help her break free from her past, she mused silently, knowing that change often began with confronting uncomfortable truths. As twilight deepened, a sudden noise broke her reverie. The stairs creaked under the weight of footsteps. Her mother, hesitant and fraught with uncertainty, appeared at the door. Sarah's heart raced. This was the moment of confrontation she had both anticipated and feared. "Sarah," her mother began, voice trembling like the shadows in the corners. "I don't know if I can do this." The admission, raw and vulnerable, struck a chord deep within Sarah. Yet she saw it as the flicker of a spark waiting to ignite. "Mom, this is our chance. Together, we can redefine what this house and your art mean." Sarah stepped forward, summoning every ounce of conviction. "You taught me to see the beauty in life's messiness. Let us infuse that beauty into this gathering. We can transform pain into something powerful, something meaningful." As her mother's eyes flickered with the ghost of a smile, one that was momentarily touched by hope, Sarah pressed on. "Each piece in this attic is a part of you. If we can't speak about it, how can we ever heal? Let us share it all, our stories, our struggles. What if this is the moment your art is truly reborn?" Her mother hesitated, lost in thought, and Sarah could almost see the struggle behind her eyes, fear grappling with desire. It was a pivotal moment. In that silence, Sarah sensed the weight of a legacy heavier than both of them. It wasn't simply an attic filled with dust and fading memories. It was a crucible for creation and reconciliation. "I can't promise it'll be a success," her mother finally whispered, visibly shaken. "What if it crumbles? Then we'll pick up the pieces together," Sarah countered, injecting her voice with warmth and determination. "Let us create a space for our truth, however messy it may be. You won't be alone in this." In that heartbeat, her mother nodded, a silent agreement sparking hope but still mired in fear. The process ahead would require transparency and emotional excavation that could easily unravel everything. Yet the vision was now clearer. This wasn't merely about displaying art. It was a transformative journey, a dialogue waiting to unfold. As they stood side by side in the dim light, the tension gradually shifted. The fear of the past was not diminishing, but it morphed into a collaborative resolve, a willingness to confront vulnerabilities together. But before Sarah could fully grasp the potential of this moment, the attic door creaked again, and a chilling breeze swept through. They turned to see a figure slipping inside, shrouded in shadows. The intruder's presence sent a shiver down Sarah's spine, unearthing an instinctual dread. She felt the suffocating grip of both her dreams and her fears intertwine in an instant as the figure stepped into the light. The air thickened with uncertainty. Who were they? What truths did they carry? And how would their arrival impact the fragile bond Sarah and her mother were beginning to forge? In that moment, one thought echoed in Sarah's mind. This night had just transformed into something far beyond what she had envisioned. Would the journey of healing still hold? She felt an instinctual need to protect her budding plans and the newfound connection with her mother. The future was poised on the precipice, and as the figure advanced, Sarah sensed their hidden truths were about to ignite a storm no canvas could contain. The figure stepped fully into the light, revealing a familiar face that sent shockwaves through Sarah's mind. It was Richard, an old family friend whose presence stirred memories of laughter long buried under layers of awkward silences and unspoken pain. His deep-set eyes, once brimming with warmth, now glimmered with a mix of urgency and trepidation. The past seemed to fold around them, tightening like a noose. "Sarah, your mother and I need to speak," he said, his voice steady but laced with an intensity that made Sarah's heart race. The urgency in his tone felt like a bell tolling, each ring calling her to confront an uncomfortable truth she had long avoided. "Why now?" Sarah challenged, her voice echoing in the vastness of the attic. "We were just beginning to find our footing here." She felt her mother's hand clench tighter around her own, a silent plea for solidarity. "There are things from the past that need illumination," Richard replied, each word measured as if he was treading over a fragile ground. "Your art, Sarah? It's not just a collection of beautiful pieces. It holds the keys to a legacy that could alter the very fabric of your family story." Each syllable landed heavily in the room, and Sarah felt a surge of conflicting emotions, a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. "What do you mean?" she asked, her curiosity battling with an instinctual desire to retreat from the impending storm. Richard stepped closer, casting a broader shadow. It's about your mother's work. About the inspiration behind it. She never really shared the full story with you, did she? What full story? Sarah's voice cracked slightly, a crack in her veiled composure. Her mother's gaze shifted to Richard, the unspoken tension palpable. No. Not here. Not now, her mother finally interjected, the tremor in her voice betraying her calm facade. This is about our healing. Your healing is intertwined with understanding your roots. Richard countered, the resolve in his eyes unwavering. Your art always pointed to unresolved struggles, and now you stand on the cusp of rediscovery. Embrace it. The atmosphere thickened. Anxiety wrapped tightly around Sarah's chest. Her artistic journey, once seen as a personal exploration, was now entangled with familial secrets that threatened to unravel everything. Would uncovering these truths strengthen their bond or fracture it further? Mom, is this true? Have you held back all this time? Sarah's voice rose, vulnerability surfacing alongside anger. Her mother turned away, the weight of shame sitting heavily on her shoulders. I did what I thought was best, she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. I wanted to protect you. Protect me? Sarah echoed incredulously. Or protect yourself from the past. As the words left her mouth, an unexpected silence enveloped the attic. Only the sounds of their breathing filled the space, creating an intimate cocoon of tension. Sarah's mind raced, pondering what pieces of her mother's history remained concealed, and how much of her own identity was woven into that fabric of silence. Sarah, I can help you understand, Richard urged, his presence a firm anchor amidst the swirl of uncertainty. But it requires courage. The thought of facing not just her mother's past, but the potential ramifications of what might be revealed paralyzed her. Yet, as she looked into her mother's fearful eyes, Sarah recognized a shared vulnerability, the longing for connection, the fear of exposing wounds. It's time, she murmured, though her heart still trembled at the prospect. I'll do it. We'll do it together. A flicker of recognition crossed her mother's features. It was a silent acknowledgement that they were finally ready to confront the ghosts hidden within the attic's walls. Richard, prepared to share the secrets lurking in the shadows of their family history. Sarah felt a churning in her gut, a mix of anticipation and dread. What revelations awaited them? What would they learn about their creativity, their struggles, and their legacy? And just as Richard began to speak, a loud crash echoed from below, breaking the fragile tension. Disbelief washed over Sarah. What more surprising interruptions awaited them on this night of revelations? Would they still emerge as a united front in the wake of looming truths? A sickening thud reverberated through the wooden floor of the attic, pulling Sarah sharply from her spiraling thoughts. Her heart raced, thrumming in her chest like a trapped bird. She met Richard's startled gaze, then turned silently toward her mother, trying to read the flicker of emotion on her face. Fear, worry, or perhaps regret. Stay here, Richard instructed quietly, as though the slightest sound could attract danger. He moved cautiously toward the attic door, his steps slow and deliberate. Sarah felt a strange mix of protectiveness and anxiety. Should she follow him, or should she remain here, where the weight of family secrets hung heavily in the air? The crashing noise had come from downstairs, and Sarah's instincts urged her to investigate, but she could also feel the pull of the conversation yet to unfold. They were standing on the brink of significant revelation, and now, her attention was diverted by an unknown disturbance. What if this disturbance meant danger to the fragile progress between her and her mother? As Richard descended the stairs, Sarah was left alone with her mother, their eyes locking for a fleeting moment. The air thickened with unsaid words, each woman standing at a precipice. Are you okay? Sarah asked finally, her voice softer, almost fragile. Her mother looked down, tracing patterns in the dust with her fingers as if seeking answers from the ground beneath her. I thought I had locked it away, she said almost absently. But I see now that it's been waiting, lurking in the shadows. The tremor in her voice betrayed more than just fear. It was as if her past was clawing at the present. What do you mean? What have you hidden? Frustration bubbled within Sarah, along with an urgency. You're not just protecting me. You're protecting yourself, aren't you? Her mother finally raised her gaze, and for a moment, her fear shifted to resolve. It's not easy to confront the past, Sarah. I'm not sure you'll understand right away. Try me, Sarah challenged, her pulse racing. I want to understand. I need to. Just then, Richard's voice echoed back up from below, announcing his return. We need to discuss this more. And maybe it's best if we acknowledge the intruder first. Both women exchanged looks of concern. With each passing moment, the weight of the unknown pressed on Sarah's shoulders like a tangible force. What had just shifted below? Were they truly safe? Let us go, her mother suggested, the urgency in her tone matching Sarah's, though laden with reluctance as Sarah crept to the head of the stairs. A mix of dread and resolve settled in the pit of her stomach. She was no longer just confronting her art, or her mother's secrets. She was stepping into a confrontation that demanded bravery, not only in the realm of the family, but within herself. Whatever lay at the bottom of those stairs, intertwined with family disturbances, mirrored her deepest fears about identity and the creative voice she had embarked on exploring. Descending the stairs, her determination solidified. She would not shy away from the truths that threatened to engulf them. But as they reached the main floor, a disturbing thought coiled within her. Might this disturbance unveil revelations that were not only shocking but fundamentally life-altering? Was this moment merely an interruption? Or was it the opening of a new chapter that would expose a deeper connection between them all three? As they turned the corner, drawn closer to the source of the crash, a sense of impending discovery hung in the air. What truths awaited them, layered beneath the chaos? Was it a reminder that some secrets demand to emerge, no matter the storm they bring? The hallway opened before them, its dim light casting elongated shadows that danced with each of their movements. Sarah's heartbeat matched the rapid thump of footsteps below, a chaotic mix of adrenaline and fear coursing through her veins. Richard shot a glance back at them, confirming their hesitance. Stay close, he murmured, gesturing for them to follow as he led the way. Every step felt like a descent into the depths of the unknown, her mind racing through possibilities of what lay ahead. Secrets, she had come to realize, were like living organisms hidden, waiting, and all too ready to bite back when uncovered. Was this intrusion a catalyst for transformation, or merely a complication in the fragile equilibrium they'd navigated? As they made their way to the living room, the noise below had ceased, leaving behind an eerie silence that wrapped around them like a shroud. Richard paused at the door, tension radiating from his rigid posture. He turned to them, his expression a mask of resolve mixed with concern. You both ready? Sarah swallowed hard, nodding despite the flutter of anxiety twisting in her stomach. This was not the time for fear. Too much was at stake. She felt the weight of her mother's presence push against her, a reminder that the two of them were inexplicably connected in this moment of chaos. Whatever they faced, it would demand their unity more than ever. Stepping into the room, she was met with an unexpected sight. A fallen bookshelf sprawled across the floor, its contents scattered like forgotten memories. Books of all sizes lay open, pages flapping like distressed birds. The entire scene appeared almost surreal, as if a metaphor for how much had been left unspoken among them. What happened? Her mother breathed, moving instinctively to right the fallen shelf. The action seemed both desperate and futile, as if she could control the narrative by restoring order. Richard began sifting through the mess. I think something shifted. Looks like someone was searching for something. He picked up a book, its cover tattered but familiar. It was one from Sarah's childhood. What were you trying to hide, Mom? Sarah's voice cracked, tension hovering in the air. The act of voicing her thoughts felt confrontational yet necessary. It was time to unravel the truth, even if it hurt. I didn't hide it. Her mother stammered, the defensiveness barely restraining her vulnerability. I thought it was behind us. It's not something I wanted you to worry about. Not wanting to talk about it hasn't protected me. It just created more questions. I deserve to know, Sarah asserted, the boldness surprising even herself. As Richard flipped through pages of the scattered books, an envelope slipped from one of them. It caught the light as it fluttered to the ground, drawing Sarah's attention like a moth to a flame. The moment it landed, her heart skipped. Would it be a hint toward the truth they desperately needed? Open it, Richard urged, excitement trailing in the undertone of his words. With shaking fingers, Sarah retrieved the envelope. Her breath caught as she saw the name on it, her late grandmother's. Suddenly, the past crept closer. A familial legacy laid bare, pulsing with the potential to redefine everything they thought they knew. Your grandmother, I thought there were never any secrets left, her mother murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The air thickened with tension. This moment reached far beyond them. It signaled a shift, an incursion into stories long ignored. As Sarah tore open the envelope, anticipation thrummed through her, intertwining with fear. Whatever lay inside could illuminate their darkest corners, not just about her grandmother but also about her mother and herself. With the contents revealed, the room hung in suspense. What whispers from the past were about to echo into their present? What stories lay entangled between the layers of disappointment, resentment, and hope? The moment of revelation had arrived, yet the implications were both thrilling and terrifying. What incredible reality awaited her? Grasp, and would she finally find the clarity she sought? As Sarah unfurled the crumpled letter, the weight of family history hung heavier than ever, daring her to confront not just the secrets within, but who she was meant to become in the wake of them. As the letter slipped from her fingers, Sarah's heart raced, the thin paper seemingly imbued with the weight of generations. She had imagined so many moments when she might learn of her family's hidden narratives. But this was real, unfolding in her hands, its edges frayed as if it had traveled through time. With each word she read, the room blurred around her. It was as though she was being pulled into the spirit of her grandmother, a woman she had never known, yet felt inexplicably tied to. There was a mention of a family heirloom, one that had been lost in the shadows of time, its significance wrapped not just in material value, but in the power of legacy that seemed to ripple through her veins. Sarah? Richard's voice penetrated her reverie, grounding her as she looked up. She noticed her mother's face, a mosaic of emotions: concern, longing, uncertainty, but most notably fear. What had been left unsaid had built invisible walls between them, and now with each revelation, those walls were set to tremble. What did she write? Her mother's query was hesitant, almost fragile, as if fearing the contents could shatter the delicate fabric of their relationship. It says here, Sarah started, her voice gathering confidence, that our family has a history of resilience, of overcoming. Each statement felt it had been penned not just as a recounting of events, but as an invitation to heal wounds they didn't even realize existed. She spoke of a locket, a symbol, she called it. It's supposed to grant clarity of purpose to the rightful heir. At the mention of the locket, something flickered in her mother's eyes. Recognition, perhaps? The locket, she whispered, trembling. I remember stories of it, but I thought it was just folklore, a figment of our past. Maybe it's more than that, Sarah countered, her own resolve swelling. This isn't just about a piece of jewelry or a trinket. It represents something deeper. It's about knowing who we are and what we've come from. Each word became a rallying cry. Sarah was not on the same path of avoidance her mother had chosen. She was ready to confront whatever lay in the shadows. Richard stepped closer, his presence solid beside her. We need to find it, he declared, surprising Sarah. It reminded her that the path to understanding required action, not mere reflection. They couldn't shy away from the shadowy figures that haunted their past. This was their moment to reclaim their narrative. But her mother's expression dimmed, the fear threading its way back into her features. I don't think that's wise. What if it leads us to things we aren't prepared to confront? Isn't that the point? Sarah exclaimed, frustration merging with awakening clarity. We've hidden from the past long enough. If there's something left unspoken, then we owe it to ourselves to face it. This might be our only chance to redefine our family story. The air shifted, pregnant with tension. It was a recipe for conflict, the kind that had brewed quietly for years. But unlike the past, Sarah felt herself stepping into the light, ready to confront the storm, readying herself for whatever truth awaited. This wasn't solely about inheritance. It was about identity and authenticity, the factors that dictated who she was becoming. Maybe it's time we give up the myths, Richard said gently, his tone encouraging yet laced with apprehension. Sarah nodded, now feeling a flicker, a flame igniting within her. Together, we can find the locket and face whatever comes with it. You have to trust that knowing these truths won't destroy us. It might do the opposite. As she spoke, the weight of the letter seemed to lift, revealing more than just words. It unveiled a trajectory of newfound determination. Here lay a chance to redefine her family's narrative, a stepping stone into her own identity. But as the resolve solidified, Her mother, a figure who had held so many tightly woven secrets, simply stared, the flicker of vulnerability not quite extinguished. It left a new question hanging in the air, larger than the others. Would her mother find the courage to follow? The moment felt precarious, a delicate balance teetering between revelation and chaos. The overwhelming urge to take control threatened to ripple out of her grasp, twisting it into a question. What if learning the truth could unearth more than just ordinary family secrets, but ignite an identity Sarah was destined to wield? With a shared glance between them, they braced for the unexpected journey ahead. Could this venture awaken not just the locket, but the dormant potentials within them all? This was the beginning of unraveling, not only the secrets of the past but the path to their futures. And with it, the weight of her heritage beckoned. What other revelations lurked in the shadows, whispering promises of a lineage forged through trials? As Sarah took a deep breath, she felt a new sense of urgency. It was time to dig deeper and unearth the connection that could redefine everything they believed. What would they discover beyond the locket, in the remnants of untold stories? The tension in the room crackled like static electricity, and for Sarah, it ignited something deep within her, a fierce longing to uncover what lay hidden beneath layers of silence. Let us start with the address, she suggested, shifting her gaze from her mother's apprehensive face to Richard, who nodded in agreement. The letter mentioned a small town where the locket was last seen. Maybe there's something left there that can lead us to it. Her mother's grip on the chair tightened, knuckles pale against the dark fabric. Sarah felt an instinctual pull to reassure her, but instead, she focused on the momentum building inside her. The thought of remnants lost in time, of stories waiting to be curated, pushed her forward. Mom, this isn't just about the locket. It's about understanding our history, our choices, our struggles. That knowledge can change everything. Don't you think some things are better left buried, Sarah? Her mother's voice trembled, yet it held a thread of conviction, the same undercurrent that had shaped their family for years. What if it brings something back that we cannot handle? The question hung in the air, stark and unavoidable. Sarah intently considered her mother's words. The idea that certain truths could unveil deep psychological wounds submerged in the lake of their unspoken past made her want to retreat. But she pushed down that instinct. But isn't it exhausting to consistently tread water, convinced you can't swim? This locket could hold the very key to freeing us. Richard, steadfast beside her as ever, added, we're stronger together. Whatever happened in the past doesn't have to dictate our present. We have the power to rewrite the narrative. His alignment made Sarah feel more resolute, as if the path ahead was a shared venture rather than a solo crusade. Her mother sighed, the hesitation in her stance palpable. I know you both want answers, but the rest of her words faded as she wrestled with the ghosts of her past and the implications of their quest. Suddenly, adrenaline surged through Sarah, prompting her to grab her mother's hands, emotion flowing directly from her heart to her mother's. If we have to face things that hurt us, let us face them together, she encouraged. I won't let you go alone. You and I can be brave, Mom. A flicker of surprise crossed her mother's face, briefly igniting a spark of hope that fought against the frailty of fear. You really believe that? She asked, vulnerability crackling in her voice. I do, Sarah answered, her own voice stabilizing as she felt a conviction form for the first time that extended beyond herself. This isn't just about unearthing secrets. It's about healing. Our family deserves that. The silence hung between them, heavy with uncertainty but also blooming with possibility. Sarah just wished her mother could see it, to a beacon of resilience highlighting their potential to rewrite a story long dictated by shadows. I'll need some time to think about it, her mother finally replied, the timbre of her voice changing as she considered the weight of the challenge ahead. Take all the time you need, Sarah said, her heart thrumming with excitement and trepidation. But know I'm moving forward, with or without you. The words echoed, cutting through a blend of fear and resolve that dwelled inside her mother. Even as Sarah distilled the essence of her declaration, doubt rumbled at the edges of her conviction. Could she truly break free from past constraints, transforming the weight of the past into the wings of liberation? Carving a path forward seemed like both a blessing and a burden. Each day moving toward the locket represented an inch deeper into uncharted territory, an exploration of identities that had yet to unfurl. But where would this journey lead them all? The thought lingered as she considered her next steps, knowing there may be things lurking beyond the locket that could claim more than her inheritance but challenge her very sense of self. With renewed focus, Sarah resolved to confront whatever lay ahead on the quest, armed with her mother's legacy. Yet, conflict brewed beneath the surface. The shadow of fear was only temporarily subdued. What dark truths awaited them, ready to birth revelations that could fracture or fortify their bond? As the air shifted, Sarah recognized that they had only begun to scratch the surface of a profound familial saga. Determined to uncover the full extent of their heritage, she silently vowed to herself she would not waver. But the underlying question haunted her thoughts: was she truly prepared for what lies beneath the surface, ready to embrace the chaos of unearthing her family's past, even if it meant confronting her mother's hesitations along the way? With a flutter of anticipation and dread, she stepped closer to the precipice of discovery. What answers and ultimately what transformations awaited the moment she finally grasped that locket? The next morning coaxed a languid warmth into Sarah's kitchen, infusing the air with potential. She stood by the window sipping coffee, hardly tasting it as thoughts of the locket occupied her mind. The tension of their conversation filled her like a balloon, each moment unspooling with the promise of discovery. The quest echoed in the very walls of her home, reminding her of her lifelong pursuit to carve her identity from the fragments of her family's past. Despite the uncertainty, an exhilarating resolve fueled her actions. She wasn't willing to let fear dictate her choices anymore. She needed a plan, clear and deliberate steps leading to the small town mentioned in the letter. Richard arrived just as she was contemplating the logistics of their first visit. His confident knock on the door punctuated the morning's serenity. In his eyes, she found a reflection of her own determination, a shared mission that almost made her forget the insurmountable obstacles they might face together. "We're doing this today, right?" he asked, a hint of excitement bubbling beneath his casual tone. "Yes," Sarah replied, surprised at how readily her voice faced the reality she had envisioned since yesterday's confrontation. "We'll drive up to the address. I'm not leaving anything on the table." "Good," he said, his smile infectious. "Let us get your gear." Then, with a few essentials packed, they headed out into the sun-splashed day. As Sarah navigated the early morning streets, the rhythmic hum of their journey settled her nerves. The road ahead drew near the town, every mile pulling them closer to uncovering not just the locket, but the very essence of what being a part of this family truly meant. A quiet apprehension weighed on her. This was no longer merely an exploration, but rather an excavation of their shared history, one filled with possible truths and painful revelations. Where would they even start looking? Would the residents recognize the name of her grandmother, or remember tales of the past? Perhaps they would shy away from the echoes that still reverberated within the town. Arriving at the designated address, an unassuming two-story house loomed in front of them, decorated with the remnants of time: a faded mailbox, a peeling fence, and an unkempt garden that hinted at neglect. The air was thick with nostalgia, as if the house breathed its history into them. "Do you feel it?" Richard asked, sensing her hesitation. "It's like stepping into nostalgia. A different time." Sarah nodded, taking a deep breath. She stepped off the pavement and approached the front door, which appeared as an opportunity ready to be seized, but laden with the weight of countless secrets. Was she really prepared to face whatever lay beyond that entrance? An elderly man suddenly appeared from the side of the house, leaning heavily on a cane. His eyes twinkled with curiosity and something else: knowledge. The air shifted, a moment of destiny hanging deliciously between them. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice gentle yet potent with intrigue. "We're looking for information about this house," Sarah began, her heart racing as she met the man's gaze. "My grandmother, she lived here many years ago." If fear had initially gripped her, determination now coursed through her veins, emboldening her to push forward. Perhaps this man could unlock the door to her family's past, a door she had never managed to open herself. "Your grandmother?" he echoed, a flicker of recognition darting through his gaze. "You must be talking about Evelyn." As hope surged, she realized she was standing at the edge of discovery, teetering on the brink of answers. Did this man hold keys to unlock more than just historical facts, but insights into family legacies and truths long buried? Her heart raced. Would she find not only traces of her grandmother, but also uncover the essence of her own identity in the process? In this shared moment, A longing to stumble upon answers merged with the fear of facing truths that could shape her very existence. What revelations would he unveil, and how would they challenge Sarah's understanding of herself? Would she discover not just the locket, but an entire tapestry of identity waiting to be unraveled? As Sarah stood in front of the elderly man, whose keen eyes pierced through the veil of generations, she felt the weight of possibility. Evelyn, she repeated, the name rolling off her tongue like a hesitant promise. Each syllable was steeped in the hope of connection, an introduction to her family's narrative ready to unfold. His face softened, recalling a time long past, an intimate history woven into the fabric of his memory. She was an inspiring woman, an artist at heart, he began, his voice gentle yet firm, carrying the weight of both admiration and loss. Art was her escape. In that moment, with his words blooming in the air like paint on a canvas, Sarah felt the threads of her own journey intertwining with that of her grandmother. Not only had she inherited blood, but also an undeniable creative lineage now coming to life. What do you mean? She implored, leaning closer, her heart pounding with anticipation. Richard stood by her side, a grounding presence, silently urging her to reclaim the story that had eluded her grasp for so long. Evelyn poured her dreams into her artwork, but also her fears, he continued. There were whispers of a locket of family heirloom that symbolized her aspirations and the burdens she carried. Your mother may never have spoken of it, but it meant everything to her. A locket. Her pulse quickened. There it was, the catalyst for healing, the nexus of their identities, every bit of turmoil and restraint tied up in something small yet significant. The echoes of past generations rang true. It was no longer simply a quest for a physical object, but a reunion with an artistic heritage meant to inspire courage. What happened to it? Sarah pressed, urgency leaking from her voice as the man's gaze shifted wistfully to the ground. It was hidden away after Evelyn struggled with her art, a sense of defeat overshadowing her talent. It became a reminder of all that she had left behind. He glanced at her intently, his voice empathetic. You must understand. Sometimes facing these truths can feel more daunting than the fear of never uncovering them. As she processed this information, Sarah felt a surge of defiance. No longer would she brush aside the legacies that shaped her. The locket's absence had been an anchor pulling her family down into the depths of silence. I want to find it, she declared, her eyes blazing with resolve. She felt like she was stepping into her own, shedding the remnants of doubt that once clouded her aspirations. It could bridge the gap not only between generations but between my mother and me. Can you help us? The old man's gaze flickered with a hint of approval. Evelyn kept a journal here, a collection of thoughts and sketches. If you wish to discover the locket, you might start there. There are stories within that could guide you. With newfound purpose, Sarah raced toward the house, her heart dancing with exhilaration. As she traversed the threshold, a daydream becoming reality, every corner of the space reverberated with the spirit of her grandmother, an artistic force waiting to be honored. Accompanied by Richard, they scoured the room, the atmosphere thick with memories. They unearthed remnants of paint, brushes, and crumpled papers. Each found artifact contributed another layer to the tapestry of Evelyn's life. Sarah's fingers brushed over the pages of the journal, heart racing as she flipped through ink-stained notes laced with vulnerability, visions of what had been and might become. Richard leaned closer, eyes glistening. This is incredible. You're restoring the very essence of your legacy right here. As Sarah immersed herself in the pages, she stumbled upon sketches of flowers, swirling patterns, and vibrant colors. However, the repeated symbols of a locket adorned several pages, as if the call to find it had resonated through the ages. Whispering a fragile promise to herself, she vowed to unearth this token, the artist's promise to their dreams. Days later, propelled by the fire within, Sarah and her mother returned together, united in purpose despite the lingering clouds of unspoken fears hovering over them. Her mother had surprised Sarah by agreeing to join her, a testament to progress already achieved in their bond. Each brushstroke of their newfound understanding painted the atmosphere with hope. They were both on the precipice of redemption. With Richard guiding them, they began to sift through the disarray, unearthing remnants of a life once silenced. As they navigated the chaos, Sarah felt her connection to her grandmother strengthen, a thread connecting their artistic pursuits as women, one searching for her legacy, and the other reclaiming it. Then, Amidst the scattered pages and crumbling canvas, Sarah spotted a peculiar glow emanating beneath an old floorboard. Heart racing, she bent down, prying it loose. Hidden inside, wrapped in muslin cloth, lay the locket, aglow with a luminescent charm she hadn't expected. Time seemed to stand still as she cradled it, feelings of connection flooding her senses. "This is it," she gasped, lifting it reverently. The room echoed with silence, and in that breathless moment, her mother stepped forward, the veil between their experiences fading like shadows at dawn. "Mom," Sarah whispered, the importance of this moment resounding. "Here, you're not just the woman who gave up her dreams. This is a part of you too. Let us find a way to honor what she could not." Her mother's eyes glistened, recognition blooming within, allowing the seed of forgiveness to take root. "I never meant to burden you or carry my own regrets. I just wanted to protect you from hurt," she breathed, the transformation palpable. "No more hidden truths between us," Sarah smiled softly. "Let this locket be a reminder that we can reclaim what was lost. Let us create a future built on our art, a new legacy." Caught within the delicate web of realization, they embraced the weight of generations. A legacy no longer shrouded in silence but vibrant with potential. They stood together, hand in hand, artists ready to reclaim their narrative. Ultimately, the true achievement lay not just in finding the locket, but in discovering the courage to confront their past and the strength to weave a shared future. Each brushstroke, decision, and revelation propelled them closer to building a life of authenticity, a vivid depiction of love, creativity, and unwavering resilience. And that attic, reborn through the legacy of a locket, they forged a path, a commitment to embrace dreams both spoken and unspoken, resurrecting art as a medium for healing and connection. Sarah had honed her own voice, but now she understood it was intricately linked with her family's annals. Together they would paint a legacy anew. Now it is your turn to join this journey of healing and transformation. You need to subscribe now to this channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support artists like Sarah and her mother. Comment your reactions and theories about their journey and the future they're creating. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.